Hey folks, welcome back to True Crime Stories, where we cover the most thrilling true crime stories. Before we get going, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for me. Thanks. And now let's get into today's story.
Welcome back, everyone. This deep dive takes us right to the middle of Appalachia, a town called Hollow Creek.
Yeah.
And it's one of those places where tradition just runs deep. Like, you can almost feel it in the air,
Absolutely.
It's almost like time has stood still there.
Yeah.
But we're not here for just, a charming travelogue. We're diving into a cold case, a disappearance that has haunted this town for years.
And it's a disappearance that brings investigative journalist Clara Jameson back home. This isn't just some story for her, it's personal. This is about her mother vanished years ago.
Right. So imagine Hollow Creek is buzzing. It's the annual harvest festival.
Yeah.
There's music. People are laughing. You can smell autumn spices everywhere.
I love that. That really sets the scene. It's that picture-perfect small town, and there's always a but right? Underneath it all, you can feel a tension. Like something's not quite right.
Right. And, we have to remember Hollow Creek is not just any small town. It's a place where folklore is like alive.
Right.
Stories about rituals, whispers of something called the echoes.
The echoes. Ugh, even the name just sends chills down my spine.
It's creepy, right? So here's Clara. And she decides to take a walk with Sam Cooper, the town sheriff, who also happens to be her childhood friend.
Oh, interesting.
And they're heading towards a local saline lake. Now, this lake, it's shrouded in spooky local lore. But it's not just, a casual stroll down memory lane. It feels like something is pulling them towards the lake, like some unseen force.
Like they're drawn to the truth, even if they don't know it yet.
Yeah, exactly. And that pull leads them to some caves near the lake.
Caves. Spooky.
Right, straight out of those childhood stories that probably scared Clara when she was a kid.
Oh, for sure.
So they're in one of these caves,
Okay.
and it's damp, silent. That kind of silence, it just feels heavy.
I know exactly what you mean.
And she stumbles upon something terrifying. First, she sees all these carvings on the cave walls.
Carvings? Like what kind of carvings?
They seem like occult symbols.
Yeah.
Ancient, unsettling.
Right.
And then she finds a locket.
A locket.
Yeah. And she opens it, and there's a picture inside, a picture of her and her mother. It's like this little snapshot of a happy memory.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
But then, right there in the cave, she finds something else. Skeletal remains. Her mother's remains.
Oh, my God.
It's just awful. Years of not knowing, and then suddenly the truth is right there in the most horrifying way.
And the whole town is turned upside down, right? I mean, the harvest festival, the music, the laughter, it all just vanishes. Everyone's looking over their shoulder, wondering who could have done it.
It's like the town itself becomes a suspect. Every secret, every grudge becomes a potential clue.
A breeding ground for suspicion.
Exactly. And as we start digging into the lives of those closest to Clara's mother, we meet a whole cast of characters, each one as complex and as mysterious as Hollow Creek itself. There's Caleb Trenton. He's the town recluse, lives on the outskirts. Ever since a fire killed his family years ago, everyone's kind of blamed him for everything.
A scapegoat?
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense. Small towns and all.
But he seems to know a lot about the town's history, about the darker side of things.
Right, interesting. So ostracized, but maybe holding key information.
Then there's Sam Cooper, the sheriff, and also remember, Clara's childhood friend.
Right. Talk about a conflict of interest.
Right. He wants to solve this case, bring justice for Clara, but he's also trying to protect his town, his family's legacy. His father was the sheriff before him.
So much weight on his shoulders.
Yeah, definitely. And then we have Evelyn Whitlock, Evie, as the locals call her. She's like the town herbalist, deeply connected to the local folklore.
Kind of like a modern-day witch.
Yeah, sort of. She's both revered and feared, She understands the power of silence, like knowing when to speak and when to keep quiet to protect the town's, I guess you could say, fragile peace.
It's like she's the keeper of the town's secrets.
Yeah, exactly. And finally, we have Peter and Marianne Hawthorne. They're like the town's golden couple. Run the local diner, always charming, always smiling.
Seem a little too perfect, don't they?
Right, and that's the question. Are they hiding something? Did they feel threatened by Clara's mother, by her outspoken nature, her desire to change things in Hollow Creek?
Lots of potential motives swirling around. But let's get to the evidence, the hard facts. What did the forensics team find?
Okay, so first things first. Blunt force trauma to the skull. This was no accident. Someone murdered Clara's mother. But the real puzzle pieces start to come together with the hair and fiber analysis.
Oh, that's where things get really interesting.
Right. It's not always about finding a smoking gun. Sometimes it's the tiniest details that crack a case wide open.
Tiny clues leading to big revelations. So what did they find?
Well, the hair they found at the scene, it doesn't belong to the victim. And some of the fibers, they could link back to the Hawthorne's diner.
Hold on, so are we saying the Hawthorns, Mr. and Mrs. Perfect, might be involved in this?
It's definitely starting to look that way.
Oh.
And there's more. They found Clara's mother's phone.
Did they? What about it?
It had a voice memo.
Yeah.
Her last voice memo. And in it, she talks about being afraid, about hiding something, a truth that someone didn't want coming out.
Chills. Literally chills. It's like she knew she was in danger, but she couldn't say who from.
And that's what makes this case so gripping, right? Every piece of evidence, every whisper, every cryptic warning, it just deepens the mystery. But it's the interviews, those conversations behind closed doors, that really bring the drama.
Oh, absolutely. Like peeling back the layers of a really juicy onion.
Exactly. Each conversation reveals a little more about Hollow Creek, about the secrets it holds, and the lengths people will go to protect them. So we left off with those chilling voice memos. And a town, like drowning in secrets.
Ready to burst. It's like everyone's just waiting for the truth to come out, you know?
Mm.
And remember those cryptic warnings from Caleb, the recluse?
Yeah.
His interviews are filled with all this talk about the wrath of the echoes.
Right.
It's like he's speaking in riddles.
Yes, like he's seen something dark and it's changed him. And then there's the whole town blaming him for that fire.
Oh, yeah.
It's just sad.
Yeah.
It's like they needed someone to blame to make sense of the tragedy, you know?
Classic small town mentality. Find a scapegoat, someone to shoulder the fear.
Exactly. But Caleb, he's like a walking paradox. He's pushed away, ostracized, but he also seems to hold some key to understanding this town's dark side.
Fascinating. And what about Sam, the sheriff? He's got his own demons to wrestle with.
Oh, totally. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, he's trying to uphold the law, but what if the people he's supposed to protect are the ones responsible?
And don't forget, his dad was sheriff before him. He's not just protecting the town, he's protecting his family's legacy.
It's like he's carrying the weight of the past on his shoulders. And Evie, the herbalist, her interviews, they were something else.
Oh, she's a trip, right?
It's like she's speaking in prophecies.
Cool.
Like she knows more than she's letting on.
Right. She has this air of, I don't know, ancient wisdom. Like she understands the delicate balance of things in Hollow Creek.
The power of silence, the consequences of speaking out, and the Hawthorns. Did their perfect facade finally crack?
Oh, it definitely started to crumble. They got so defensive, their alibis were full of holes, their smiles didn't quite reach their eyes anymore, you know?
The pressure was getting to them.
Oh, yeah. I can practically see them in that interrogation room. Peter Hawthorne sweating under the fluorescent lights, saying we had nothing to do with it. But the evidence is painting a different picture.
The fibers, the inconsistencies in their stories.
It all points to a cover-up, a desperate attempt to hold on to their power.
It's like this small-town Shakespearean drama.
Right. Secrets, betrayal, maybe even murder.
So, what happens next? Does Clara confront the Hawthorns?
Well, she does something even bolder. She calls a town meeting.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine? The whole town packed into a room, the air thick with tension.
All those secrets about to spill out.
And then Clara plays her mother's last voice memo.
The one where she talks about being afraid?
Yeah, that one. It's like a punch to the gut, hearing her voice echo through the room. Her fear, her desperation. The silence after the recording ends, it's deafening.
And then?
In a completely unexpected turn of events, Peter and Marianne Hawthorne, they confess.
They confess. To what?
They admit to being part of this secret group.
A secret group?
Yeah, pulling the strings in Hollow Creek, silencing anyone who threatened their control. They say Clara's mother, she was a target because she was getting too close to the truth.
So they were trying to keep her quiet, but did they actually kill her?
That's where things get tricky. They say they didn't plan to kill her. It happened during an argument, a struggle that got out of control.
A crime of passion.
I don't know. It's hard to believe. These were the pillars of the community.
And what does Clara think? Does she buy it?
The town is split. Some believe the Hawthorns. Others think they're lying through their teeth. And Clara, she's caught in the middle. She wants justice for her mother. But what if it was an accident?
It makes you wonder about the nature of truth, you know? Is it ever black and white?
It's messy. And then there's Caleb. We know he had a connection with Clara's mother, and he keeps dropping those cryptic warnings. Does he know more than he's letting on?
That's the question that hangs over everything. The Hawthorns are going to jail, but the real mystery, the truth, about what happened to Clara's mother, it still feels like it's out there waiting to be uncovered.
So the Hawthorns are locked up. Their confession, it's like a shockwave that's gone through Hollow Creek.
Hmm.
But something just doesn't feel right. It's like we're missing a piece of the puzzle.
It's that unsettling feeling that justice, real justice, hasn't been served. Sure, there's legal closure, but what about the truth? What really happened to Clara's mother?
And Caleb, he's always been there, lurking in the shadows. We know he was close to Clara's mother, and his talk about the echoes, the town's dark past, it's more than just creepy ramblings.
Caleb, he embodies Hollow Creek's trauma. He's the outcast, the one they blame for everything. Yet, he seems to understand the town's secrets better than anyone.
He's like a living ghost story. And those carvings Clara found in the cave, those occult symbols. Caleb's the one who can translate them, the one who can connect them to the echoes in the town's hidden history.
Which makes you think, what if Claire's mother stumbled onto something she wasn't supposed to see? Something that someone, or maybe a whole group of people, wanted to keep buried?
Right. I mean, remember, she was scared. She was hiding something. What if her investigation led her to something connected to those echoes, those ancient rituals Caleb keeps hinting at?
No, that's a terrifying thought. And the fact that Caleb, the one person who might hold the answers, he's so evasive. Always speaking in riddles, never fully revealing what he knows.
It's like he's toying with Clara, with the whole town even. But why? What's his motivation? Is he trying to protect something, or is it something more sinister?
That's the unsettling feeling we're left with. The Hawthorns are behind bars, but the real truth about Clara's mother, about the echoes and the secrets they hold, it's still out there, like a ghost in the fog.
Yeah. It's a reminder that sometimes, even when the case is closed, the answers remain elusive.
And as Clara continues her search, as she tries to make sense of her mother's legacy and the darkness that hangs over Hollow Creek, we're left with this. The echoes of a mother's silenced voice, a town haunted by its past, and ancient secrets that refuse to stay buried.
Hollow Creek, with its charm and its chilling secrets, it's a place that will stay with us. A place where the lines between truth and lies, justice and vengeance are blurred.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, it leaves us with a question. What secrets are hidden in our own backyards? What echoes of the past are waiting to be heard?
It's a question that should keep us all up at night. It's a call to look deeper, listen closer, and never stop searching for the truth, no matter how unsettling it may be. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the heart of Hollow Creek. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep asking questions.